Illinois Democrats are clashing over how far they would go to combat President Trump and how they would govern if they retake power. Last week, we showed you where Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy stands on ICE and federal immigration enforcement. Now we turn to the candidate calling for the boldest break of all. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton sat down one-on-one with our political editor, Mark Maxwell, as early voting begins this week. He joins us with what stood out and what voters will need to weigh as they head to the polls.
Yeah, Kelly, abolish ICE is a memorable call. It's a memorable rallying cry. And Juliana Stratton's call to abolish ICE is certainly the clearest line we've seen any candidate draw yet in this race, at least when it comes to rhetoric. But because governing requires more than simple slogans, I asked her what that policy would look like on the ground. On a recent debate stage, Juliana Stratton looked to set herself apart from the field.
We need to abolish ICE, period.
After deadly federal shootings in Minnesota, Democrats have ramped up pressure on the Trump administration to change course. Stratton's rivals, Raja Krishnamurthy and Robin Kelly, echoed Senator Dick Durbin's calls to reform ICE.
We need to have a reform of that agency.
In a Monday morning interview, I asked Stratton what her plan would look like in a practical sense. Voters deserve to know what happens when the chants end. If ICE disappears tonight, who's actually doing the job tomorrow? Who shows up when a judge orders a deportation or issues a warrant, or someone overstays a visa?
We've only had this ICE and the way that ICE and CBP is operating right now since 2003. So we haven't always had it.
Congress created ICE in the Department of Homeland Security in the aftermath of the 9/11 terror attacks. You're suggesting we go back to before that?
Well, look at what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a paramilitary force that has really been put in place now as a private police force for President Donald Trump. This agency cannot be reformed as is.
Senator Durbin would not go that far. If there was a bill on your desk to abolish ICE, how would you vote?
Part of the agency has responsibility that is legitimate. It's been abused by the Trump administration and Secretary Noem. We can change the agency for the better and do it without rewarding those who abused it.
Is he wrong?
Well, I believe we should abolish ICE, and I've been very clear about that.
So back to my first question, who does the work then?
Well, it depends. I mean, you know, if you're talking about issues about fentanyl or others, we have a DEA. We have other agencies that we can look at to say, where does this best fit and who are the people who should do it? But we should not see a paramilitary force on our streets.
All right, an interesting debate, but now it's your turn, Illinois voters, to weigh in here. Early voting starts this Thursday. The primary election just 6 weeks from tomorrow, March 17. And you're not just choosing a nominee here. You're choosing an approach between reforming the federal immigration agency or abolishing it outright. That choice now moving from the debate stage to the ballot box.